I didn't know what I want to do after college. When you don't know what you don't know, you settle for what you do know. In my case, I'm a good student, so I chose to be in schools for as long as I could. 5 years in elementary school, 6 years in middle high school, 4 years in college, 3 years for a master's degree, and 8 years for a PhD. Now, please help me calculate how many years was I in school. You didn't know that you need to pass a math test. 26 years. 26 years I was in school. That's a big portion of my short life. Over the course of 26 years, I got really good at one thing, collecting degrees. My college major was Indonesian language and culture. I've never been there. I can't even count from 1 to 10 now. A study says that less than a quarter of college graduates end up working in jobs have to do with their college major. And we remember less than 5% of what we learn in college. I can't help but wonder, how wonderful would it be if we know early on what we are good at and get to learn what we are interested and ended up doing something we're good at? Since schools were not teaching me how to find out who I am and what I'm capable of doing, I decided to go on a journey of search for a mission by myself. So I took on many random projects when I was a doctoral student at Columbia University. Some of them were so random that I don't even know how to put on a resume. But when an experience didn't make it to your resume, is it still valuable? Of course it is, because we do not live for resume. We live for experience. So I was asked to sell hog casing for a local company in my hometown. You look quiet and puzzled, so let me show you a picture. Casings that make sausages. A doctoral student majoring education selling casing. I thought to myself, how hard could it be? You know, people like sausages, and there is a demand, then I can sell. So all I need to do is find the buyers. I make cold calls, I attend international casing conferences, I go to trade shows, I even directed a film, the first film in my entire life, capturing the whole process of making casing, starting from a slaughterhouse. It was the most terrifying experience. I brought the film with me, showed up at trade shows in Venice, in Brazil, in India, and I ended up closing a few millions of dollars of sales for the company. I was really excited that I can sell. I thought to myself, if I can sell pig intestines, I could literally sell anything. So what could I do? Well, I'm interested in education. Maybe I could start a company that would help students get into the right colleges, and through the process, they would get to know themselves better, and then they may eventually find something they enjoy learning and doing. So I decided to move back to China after living in the US for 10 years. I picked a city that I've never lived before, Shanghai. It's close to where my parents live, and I started the business all alone, by myself. You can only imagine the difficulties I would encounter when I moved back to China. I had experienced a counterculture shock. According to a study in 2012, that China's new entrepreneurs tend to be younger. They are average of 31-year-old, and 44% of them at the age range of 24 to 35. And I'm older than that. And a master's degree and above only accounts for 4.4% of the overall entrepreneurs in China. And female entrepreneurs account for less than a quarter of the total number of entrepreneurs in China. So I was a minority in every measure. I was single, with advanced degree, I was a boss, It seems like the worst combination of all. It's like a devil who wears Prada. There's one study shows that if you were asked to pick an employer to work, whether it's Steve or Stephanie, majority of people would pick Steve, even though these two employers had exactly the same profile. Well, so I'm at odds. And I didn't realize that in China, if you're over 27 and unmarried, you're called a leftover woman. Or 3S, single, 70s, and stuck. Women who are single, there's this lady, she went to a matchmaking event. She's 31, I believe. And all the parents showed up to try to match for their sons and daughters, and they look at her up and down and checked her age, said, you know what, you are like an apartment. The layout is very good, but the location is bad. You're as if the suburb of a big city. There are 4 levels of leftoverness. If you're between 25 to 28, you are entry-level leftoverness. You still got a chance to win. If you're between 28 to 32, your chances are slim. If you're between 32 to 35, you're the queen of leftovers. If you're over 35, oh boy, you're doomed. You're a hopeless leftover. In China, there are 3 different genders: male, female PhDs. Because female PhDs are not feminine enough. Aside being called a 3rd gender, female PhDs were called 灭绝师太. For those of you who understand Chinese, knows that it's a nun of no mercy from a kung fu fighting nun in a popular martial arts movie. And sometimes referred to as a UFO. Ugly, foolish, and old. On Chinese microblog Weibo, there is one user wrote that female PhDs are the tragedy of China's leftover women. So let me summarize for you. I am a hopeless leftover, 3rd gender of no mercy, who happens to be in the business educating children whom I don't have. How big of a chance I will succeed in China? And whenever I tell people that, they look at me with this sympathetic and concerned look, like I was miserable. And they will be like, even if I tell them that, you know what, I'm fine. I actually really enjoy my life. I like what I do, and I like where I am. They'll be like, oh, that's okay. You know, don't be so picky. For a woman, family is the most important thing. You should just settle. I heard this way too many times, and I know that I probably can't really change what they think and who they are, so maybe I should change up my strategy. So next time I saw someone with that look on her face, a mile away, I approached them. I said, hi, I know that you must be worried about me. I know you must think that I'm miserable, you know? Like, I'm probably gonna be old and not successful and lonely. I caught them off guard. They're like, no, not at all. Look at you. You're awesome. You're cool. You have the most freedom and time in the world. You could achieve anything in the world. I'm envious of you. Oh, really? Okay, thank you. I turned around and walked away. So what I realized is that most people don't really care what you do or what you are. They just want you to be like them because that's the way life is supposed to be. But they don't mean bad either. They just don't understand you. So I decided, I need to accept who I am and celebrate my uniqueness. So that really, the shift of mindset and attitude really helped me to be more empathetic towards the students that I work with. Because in a society, when a child's success is largely defined by how well they do in schools and what kind of name brand schools they go to, they become this faceless, characterless study machine. They take exams all the time. But I just need to remind them that every child is unique in his or her own ways. All they have is hidden talents that we need to find with patience. I tell my students that no matter what adversities they face, they need to try their best and really push forward. And I also tell parents that every child is born with great curiosity and great capacities to learn. They don't just turn into someone who's lazy and lack of motivation. We adults need to take the responsibilities and see beyond those numbers and really meet the true essence of who they are. Just like you would look beyond my age and gender and the number of degrees I collect. So I decided that move to China, I need to accept the situation. So lesson learned is here. Embrace your naysayers and celebrate your uniqueness. A few years into running my business, I started to feel comfortable. At the same time, I felt stuck. I know that I needed to push myself out of the comfortable zone and try something different. So in 2017, I traveled to 6 different countries. I pushed myself to overcome fear and also try things that were on my not-to-do list. For example, snowboarding, bungee jumping, and why not pole dancing? And learning Spanish. One of the most exciting and terrifying and liberating experience was to climb up a 40-foot pole and jump off to reach a bar in front of me. The pole is as big as a dinner table like this. The worst part is that it moves from side to side. The higher you go, the easier it moves. So I climbed all the way up to the top of the pole. I was holding onto it like a monkey. And I got stuck. I didn't know what to do because every move I make, the pole sways. My legs started to shake, my arms were shaking, and my head was going crazy. I was like, oh my God, I should never put myself in this situation. Everybody's watching. What if I fall? If I don't make it onto the top, this is ridiculous. I'm humiliated. All that. While I was racing in my head, I heard a voice at the bottom of the pole. He said, focus on what's next. Stop thinking about how difficult it is. Don't look down. Impossible should be I'm possible. Oh, that was a very good reminder. All right, okay, so let me focus on what's the next step. I move my right foot inch by inch by inch and placed it flat on the top of the pole. And I did the same thing with my left foot. When both of my feet are laid flat on the top of the pole, I pushed my upper body away from my thigh and straighten my legs. When I stand still, I open my arms. My eyes look ahead. I saw beautiful mountains. I felt the breeze sweeping across my face. Oh God, I need to reach for that pole, a bar. I took a deep breath. 1, 2, 3, I jump. It's so far, I couldn't reach it, but I leaped anyways. Being courageous doesn't mean you don't have fear. It's that even if you have fear, you leap anyways. In life and in work, we got stuck once in a while. When we are in a stuck mode, we should have a little bit entrepreneurial spirit that will get you unstuck and move forward. We just need to keep pushing our known zone. The more we know what we don't know, then we're more likely to touch the unknown. So, another lesson learned, keep learning, stay humble. I would like to end my speech by reading a few verses from the Paradoxical Commandments by Ken Keith. It really captured the essence of how I would like to live my life. People are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered. Love them anyway. The good you do today will be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. The biggest man and woman with the biggest ideas can be shot down by the smallest man and smallest woman with the smallest mind. Think big anyway. Give the world the best you have. You'll get kicked in the teeth. Give the world the best you have anyway. I would like for you guys to read the last two verses with me as if you really mean it, okay? All right, let's go. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Build anyway. Give the world the best you have, and you'll get kicked in the teeth. Give the world the best you have anyway. Thank you so much.